morning. Political Science Standard 10th. Social and political movements. Yesterday we saw the introduction of a movement. What is a movement? Why movement is? Who are responsible for the movements? And how social and political persons are related to the movements. Sometimes there are people who are responsible for the creation of movement. Means movement creates leaders, movement creates social workers, and social workers create movement. Political leaders or political parties also create movements. We saw some examples in the name of Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, or the revolutionary movements of India, the various personalities that are related with the independence struggle of India. Also, we know that apart from this, in the name of social upliftment of women, child, or even some others, that is the social behavior pattern which was not up to the mark of the global level. So the societies, as they were distributed according to the caste, creed, religion, and the upheaval that India always experienced in the name of Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishyas and Shudras, we have to understand all this, how India come over it according to the time. So in this second session, we will try to understand the topics related to the certain personalities or the group of peoples who are directly related to the social or the political movements. One, beginning with the tribals. Tribals, also termed as Vanvasi or Adivasi, claims that they are the real inhabitants of India. These are the peoples who since beginning are living here. There is a conflict among the people who came from outside, as we call them the outsiders, and the natives. Now these people, these means the tribal peoples, totally depend on whatever they find in the jungles. Their main livelihood was dependent on the products that were made available by the jungle, the natural components, and apart from that, with the advent of arms and ammunitions, they started catching animals, killing animals as a prey for their food. So indirectly, food that was related to the persons in the beginning was totally from nature. This nature slowly, with full support, satisfied the needs of these people. But as time moved on, and the people from Europe or from abroad started approaching towards India, there came a change. With the introduction of the people as a society in a group and as in a mass, many people started coming together and a society was created. Along with the society, the rules and regulations, and with the rules and regulations, the introduction of agriculture paved way to settle down at one place. Now, because of this, these people who settled down at a single place started claiming that the land they are living owes to them. And in this way, slowly the areas were marked by. These areas then became the part of the kingdom, and today we call it nations, countries. Politically speaking, these people had their chief or leaders. The same was in the name of tribals also. In the beginning, these tribal peoples lived their life in the jungle without any disturbances of any other community or people. But with the introduction of the Europeans, particularly the Britishers, with the introduction of the Britishers, East India Company started making law, rules and regulations that affect the living lifestyle of the people. Near about up to 1818, the Britishers captured the whole of India, excluding Punjab, that is the kingdom of Ranjit Singh. Today we call it Sindh and Punjab. But 1818, defeat of the Marathas brought the whole of India under the span of the Britishers. And after that, Britishers started making rules and regulations that directly affected the livelihoods of the Indians. One among them was related to the tribal peoples. All the products related to the jungles, that is the trees and the fruits, were now restricted. People were not given permission of entering into the jungles and getting anything because the Britishers required the wood that was of the highest quality in India for construction of railways, for constructions of the buildings and many other material things. Also, cotton was given a prime importance. Along with cotton, indigo was given the prime importance. Now, all these things also slowly change the living scenario of the Indians, and the people living in the jungles who were now deprived of the rules, regulations and livelihood from the jungle started to revolt against the Britishers. Now, this was during the East India Company. After that, British Parliament took over 1857 onwards, and 1857 to 1947 again the British Parliament made certain rules which converted the jungles into three groups, and these again were restricted for selected few. That is the grazing of the animals, that means animal rearing was given importance. People can go into certain areas, selected areas, but cannot enter into the core areas. Now this was because Indian wood was now started exporting to certain European countries. Many of the constructions in Europe owed their importance to the wood that was made available from India or Indian Peninsula, we can call it. Not only India, but Indochina, that is the area which was under French community and adjacent to area. India, definitely today's India is smaller enough when we compare it during the British rule. The Afghanistan, the Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, all were considered as one nation. And because of this, the products from the jungles which were deprived to the inhabitants of the jungles rose dissatisfaction against the Britishers, and first revolt against the Britishers with the help of the fakirs, the sannyasis and the Adivasis started gaining momentum in India. Now, while doing so, we have one best example in the name of Birsa Munda, which tells us that how Birsa Munda, though an Adivasi, was ready to sacrifice his life against the Britishers. But this is only one case. In the beginning, the Adivasi peoples, if we term Bihar, if we say Maharashtra, if we speak about Madhya Pradesh or even Gujarat and many other states, all the states of India have certain population of tribal peoples. Now, these peoples are all scattered. They are not homogeneous. They do not have that mass coming together and creation of the mass movements. They do not have that ability of the urban civilization as in the name of education. And definitely restricted to the catchments of certain geographical areas, they definitely struggle against the atrocities that were conducted from time to time against them, either by the kingdoms, East India Company or then the British Parliament. But after 1947, again the scenario remained near about one and the same. The jungles that were distributed into three different groups by the Britishers remained as it is. And Indian government carried on the same process till today. Again, these peoples who are now also having the education to certain restrictions, again wants their own area under their own command. They are claiming that the vans or the forest of India are the native places of these, and so they term themselves as Vanvasis, the people who lives in the jungles. We call them tribal. And these people till today, now speaking broadly, before the advent of East India Company, The struggle of the tribals was restricted to certain social but largely religious matter. After that, the East India Company encompassed the whole of India, brought under its own political span, and then culminated the area into their own benefits, the raw materials of the jungles. So, all these people started struggling against British India up to 47. After that, the government also needed many of the products as a raw material, and again the restrictions carried on. But now, first, these people struggle against the religious motive. Second, against the Britishers or the Europeans, because the Portuguese, the French, and some other European powers had some areas under their own span. So, against the Europeans, and after that, again their own country's political scenario. Till today, these people are struggling. Now we can understand that the political movement of the same category people, that is the tribals, has changed or shifted from religious to livelihood, from livelihood to the identity. Today they are struggling for their own identity. They are the Santhals, they are the Mundas, they are the means as we call them the Gadkaris, the Kolams. Apart from that, the as we study about the Warli painting, the peoples from Mumbai, Thane, Palghar areas, also the peoples from Madhya Pradesh, the Korkus as we know, the Korgis, the Kurk. There are many people all over India, even the people in Jammu and Kashmir who are in the remote areas term themselves as the tribals. Even today, that is in 2020, are struggling, but today against their own government, that is the government of India. Moving further, the globalization, the economic development or economical policies again is keeping these people apart from the jungles. After this, we again have the same with certain different with related to the farmers. In the beginning, that is before the advent of the Britishers, farmers were definitely the people who provided on a large scale the taxes to the government. But none of the ruler, may he be a Hindu or any other religion, interfered into the daily livelihood of these farmers and led the economic prosperity of the area as it was. But with the advent of the Britishers, East India Company never wanted whatever was going as it is, because India had the barter system, and in the name of barter system a thing was exchanged in return of a thing. So everything had its own value, and the value of a commodity of a thing was also in exchange of a thing. After the introduction of the Britishers, these rules started to change, and economy now was moving towards cash. Now, because of this, cash crop were introduced, the indigo, the cotton, and some others. With the indigo, we know that Mahatma Gandhi, after coming from South Africa, was asked to lead a satyagraha related to the price of indigo in Bihar, Champaran. This was the beginning of the struggle of the farmers against the Britishers on the political background of Congress. But prior to that, Mahatma Jyotirao Phule always tried to explore the outcomings, may it be the better in the better sense or in a negative sense, but to explore the outcomings of the Indian society, which term as Bahujan was lacking in all the fields just because of education. And while doing so, Shetkaryanche Asu was something he wrote about. Why the farmers are always exploited is an ideology after studying he put forth. He also studied about Karl Marx. Even Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak wrote about the ideology of Karl Marx. Now, studying this, we come to know that the struggle of the farmers was carried on time and again by the leaders as they understood or as they knew what was going on, and they feel it to protest. After that, we know about Justice Ranade, Mahatma Gandhi, and there are many. Uh, Mahatma Gandhi, some of the movement, though politically in terms of freedom struggle, Champaran Satyagraha, after that Bardoli, and even after that, he created into a sense among the people that the villagers or the farmers should unite. And because of this, Sane Guruji come forward from Khandesh to fight against the British Atrocity Act. This was during the British rule. But after that, as India gained its independence, up to 1990, the farmers were struggling always for their own products related to the selling value. But after 1990, particularly after 1990, after 1990s, one of the biggest change the world over experienced was liberalization. Liberal, or in another sense, we can call it globalization. Because of this globalization, what happened? The clutches of the people, clutches of the farmers, which was once the property of the Britishers up to 1947, and after that the government policy dictated the livelihood of the farmers, slowly again came under the span, under the burden, under the treatment of the global powers, and they are the various companies of America, England, or some other nations. Now, these nations again dictate the price as well as the value of a product in international market. Because of this, again, the farmers suffering from all these criteria are coming together to form their union. Now, we have studied in the history from 8th standard to 8 and 9 that there were groups of people who came together to struggle against the atrocities conducted in the name of agricultural products or against the farmers. So, All Indian National Congress had its branch for the issues related with the farmers. Also, apart from that, Akhil Bharatiya Kisan Sabha, or in Maharashtra we can call it Shetkari Sangatna, Swabhimani Paksh, or some other names, are also struggling even today. After that, in the name of hybridization, 1990s onwards, in the name of hybridization to increase the crop yield, many seeds started coming, flourishing into the markets. Now, because of this, the agricultural producers, that is the farmers, lost their grip over the farmlands, and every time they have to move towards the shops. Now, buying and purchasing from the shop totally made them dependent on the market value. It is also in this context that these farmers are struggling. Again, the government is now proposing, not the government, but many of the social workers are now struggling to reinstall the native crop yields of India. This struggle is still going on. We also study about the trade unions. In the beginning, when the Britishers comes to India, we always speak in the name of cotton, in the name of indigo, or some other thing. But keep it in mind, all over India, when we study about the railway tracks, we come to know that these tracks were in a sense in such a way that cotton from all over India could reach the ports, and from here, that is Kolkata, Mumbai, Chennai, and Delhi. Now, apart from that, many other centers, these centers collected the cotton and other things, and from here it was moved to England. From there, it again came as a product and was sold in India. Because of this, textile became a major part of England's prosperity. At the same time, railways for the carrying of the goods from one place to another, as India was vast enough, railway tracks were introduced. Now, because of this, in the textile mill as well as railways, many of the people were engaged into the work. And India's first, as we call it, GIP, uh, Peninsular Railways, as it was named at that time, was established, and these workers were also introduced into tea farms. Now, tea farms or tea estate, as we call them, were also a thing where these peoples were just treated as bonded laborers. And because of bonded laborers, they were not allowed to go either to their own houses or anywhere. Because of this, all these changes, the biggest change on the backdrop of industrialization that the Britishers started in India was that people from various areas started to come together. And during the festival times, they wanted to return back to their own homes, villages, houses, or wherever they were native of, but were deprived. Because Britishers knew that, or the companies knew that once they go back, all will not come back. And because of this, the skilled labor, because of the lack of the skilled labor, the companies were not ready to provide holidays for this worker. Naturally, the people were deprived of all amenities as they needed to live in. They were not provided the good salaries. Apart from that, at the right time, they were not given all the access as they needed. And because of this, while reading about others or while coming to know the stories of the other nations, these people in urban areas now started coming together, finding their own unions. This union always struggled for their own upliftment in livelihood, health and hygiene, food, entertainment, and this resulted into new society. So during the British, but studying about the trade union, the credit goes only to the Britishers, because prior to that there were no trade unions. Neither people were treated the same prior to British India. So trade unions, after being coming into being, that is the first authorized All India Trade Union Congress of 1920, and then onwards all the political parties today have their trade unions. But today's trade union is totally apart as we speak in the beginning. This was at the national level, and all of them coming together slowly started supporting Congress. This motivation of the people supporting Congress paved way a strong will among the people's mindset that India should gain independence. And in this way, urban areas, because these people were living in the city lives or the areas which we call as urban areas, urbanization, these people were totally apart from the rural parts, and unity among them started to gain momentum. Because of this, strength of the working class increased, and it was demonstrated in many other movements. The textile movement, the railway movements as we speak it. Apart from that, even the Champaran, though related with the village area, with the farmers community, is a movement that shows how the bastards can be put to earth. And after that, we comes to the women. In women's section, also the struggle since beginning. This is a male-dominated society, first of all. And because of a male-dominated society, many of the rules and regulations indirectly supports the supremacy of the male. We know that the Indian culture never gave access for the educational benefits to the women. And for that, the first school for the girls established by Mahatma Jyotirao Phule had his wife as the first teacher of India, a lady teacher, Savitribai Phule. Apart from her, there were many others who slowly come forward. The first woman doctor, the first woman practicing doctor, then the work carried on by Ramabai Ranade in the name of women's upliftment, particularly Dhundu Keshav Karve, even Mahatma Gandhi. There are many names, but these all the societies as they were from time to time slowly started changing. Britishers made it a law that if a family have a girl child, she must be educated, she must go to school. And slowly, with the introduction to this, women's emancipation from all the clutches of the men started to break down. They also started showing their supremacy. The book written by Stri Purush Tulna is a book written by Tarabai Shinde from Buldhana. So here we can find that the first comparative study of male and female was made by Tarabai Shinde. Now this is how slowly, because they were given a chance, women started showing her supremacy. And after that we know that with the introduction of independence in India, the rules and regulations are now in favor of them. Even the dictates of the Supreme Court, the verdicts of the Supreme Court from time to time make the women's area much more stronger. Government have to bow down to many of the demands, making law in favor of women. Today women have the right in property share, not only of the father but also of a husband. The alimony, the dowry, then the sati. Apart from that, many of the economic prosperity related to the women's upliftment, these laws were enacted, and these laws make them more stronger compared to prior. But this is not the end. The struggle is still going on, and definitely in the coming days, as we see many of the women in near about all the fields now, they have proved their tussle. Environment and consumer movements are the product of 1990s onwards. That is the new economic policy, the world accepted, or the liberalization. With the globalization, with the liberalization, the nations all over the world whose companies were established outside their own companies started making use of the raw material indiscriminately. And because of this, the first important problem that arose was in the name of environment. Also, at the same time, the deforestation, the living standard, change in the living standard, the cold storage, the AC, the four-wheeler or the vehicles, the goods and the public vehicles. Apart from that, the big factories, all these slowly proved their share, gave their share in making an increase in the amount of pollution. This pollution slowly culminated into many of the world suffering from its hazards. And one was, there is now a slight change in a climatic condition all over the world. Global warming, as we are calling it, is the gift of industrialization. Industrialization had its origin in 1650 onwards, but the stages as it went on after every 100 years proves that people indiscriminately is making use of all the natural products all over the world. The jungles, the water, the areas which are not a residential places, or we can call it as a mining occupation. Apart from that, even the sea or the bottom of the water bodies are exploited for or in the name of economic prosperity. Because of all these things, one comes to know that in environment, with indiscriminate use of natural scenarios, it converted into the pollution of air, water and soil, fertilizers, chemicals, and here also air, chemicals. Because of it, whole of the area in which we are living is now polluted. After that, deforestation for the demands of furniture, building structures, or even the herbs, medicines. The jungles are exploited on large scale. And to overcome this, Earth Summit were conducted. First at Stockholm, slowly it gained momentum, and then Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and the latest was in Paris last year. That is France. But while doing so, the developed nations of the world are putting pressure on developing and underdeveloped so that the earth's pollution should be lessened and nature should become much more better place to live in. But while doing so, the working class, as they are producing the products for these rich countries or the factories of the developed countries, the products that are being sold are also facing many problems. One among them is either we call it faulty or fake. Many of the products that are available in the market, because of the stiff competition, we cannot understand the real and the fake. And the people who do not have exactly the knowledge of a thing are exploited on large scale. The best example is the Chinese products. These are certain products which today we know that are not of that much helpful in context of nature, and yet because of less price we are producing. So natural one is adulteration, that is mixing the food grains or many other components which are not the part of yet are being used and we are being deceived. Second, hoarding. In the name of godowns, products are being safe, preserved for a longer duration, and as the price hikes are brought to the market, so for gaining more profit, hoarding is also going on, putting stress for the things to be made available into market, and that is how consumers are exploited. Consumers, the people who are purchasing it. For 1980s onwards, new social economic movements started, and these are the movements which are not the movements same as it was in the beginning. First, the movements were restricted to, when we study about Champaran, it is only up to Bihar and certain community that was related to Champaran in terms of indigo. After that, many other areas, for example Maharashtra, for example Gujarat, for example some other parts, or even Lucknow, Awadh, Ayodhya as we call it today, these areas, but these were restricted. Now at the global level, which affects the whole community all over the world, these movements are going. Other countries are playing a major role in it. And the best example today we can view is in the name of Hong Kong. Here, the struggle that is going on of the people is the best example of new social movement. Many of the countries of the world directly see their own prosperity in future in this context. So, mass movements based on global issues are now being a part of it. Related to Grahak, that is the consumer, Jago Grahak Jago, is certain things which made people aware of their own rights, and for that in 1986 Consumers Protection Act was passed by Indian Parliament. Time and again it was upgraded, changed to a betterment of the people, but still it is going on. And accordingly, as people do not have the exact knowledge of a thing, these are the people who can easily be deceived. But at the global level, at the national level, at the state level, at the local level, and at oneself, we have to be cautious. And this in turn will make the whole of the world a better place to live in. Hope you understood this. Thank you.